So with my social impact initiative, Self Kare, I talk a lot about nutrition and fitness, but in the lens of talking about how it makes us feel and how it makes us function, and not talking about necessarily what food makes us look like. So we're going to be talking about wellness of all aspects this weekend, not just nutrition and fitness, because I don't have expertise in all the aspects of wellness, all 8 of them. So I have a lot of wonderful people that are going to be helping me with that this weekend. So you're in for a lot of great information. But we're going to start with a presentation on self-care so that you can learn a little bit more about what that's about, and so that you can focus this weekend on everything through that lens of learning how to fuel our bodies to be our best every day. So I'm going to share my screen, and at the top of it, what you'll see is a website you can go to, which I'll put in the description, as well as a code. And if you go onto your phone and you do that, you'll be able to interact with this presentation, which is a lot of fun. So once I get this up, you'll see that. Here we go. This out of the way. Okay, so if you head to menti.com and then you use the code 1999798, you'll be able to interact with me on this presentation today. And there are a couple of spots where you guys will be able to give me your feedback and opinions, and it's all anonymous. If you don't want to make a question known, or you don't want to publicly ask, you'll be able to do that. Okay, so first, what is self-care? Like I said, it's about fueling our minds and bodies to success while taking the focus off of weight and appearance. And I think especially as women, we know that a lot of the time society is really influenced by aesthetics and what we look like, and how we should be fueling our body to look like people in the media. And I think that's probably the least important part of our nutrition. It's really about making sure that we're healthy and feeling our best every day. And down here, I have the 3 pillars of what I talk about: nutrition, wellness, and body image. And we'll kind of cover all of those today. There we go. All right, so I have this little question for you to answer. And now that we're on the slide, you'll just be able to type it in and let me know what comes to mind when you hear the word nutrition or fitness. So we have some here already. We have healthy, health, food, self-love, which I love, gymnasium, exercise, fitness, salad, veggies. Some of these are left over from the last presentation I did in person in March, so that's kind of fun. But healthy, yeah, these are great ones. And a lot of times when I go to schools, a lot of the things I hear are only eating vegetables or skinny, which those things are really sad when you think about it, when a 3rd grader is telling you that to them, wellness means being thin. And we, again, just want to talk about it in a different lens. Meal plan, that's definitely one that comes to mind as well. And so I always like to ask, does this mean you can never have ice cream again? And the answer is no. I'm not living in a world without ice cream, and this is all about balance and figuring out how to have a lifestyle and how to have a diet that is going to allow us to enjoy all of the foods we love, but still treat our body the best that we can. So 25% of Americans consume fast food every day. So there are 7 people on this call right now. That means just over 1 of us is eating fast food every single day. If we get 1 more person, it would be 2 of us. That would be going to McDonald's every single day and having a meal there. And that's not the best way to fuel ourselves. Food is for our success, it's for our growth, it's for our health, and we want to make sure we're choosing foods that help us with that. So I have a couple of different statistics. I won't completely read through all of them, but it just kind of gives you a better idea of what the state of wellness in our country looks like right now. So healthy students perform better on all areas of academic achievement, which is great to know. And more than 80% of adults do not meet the guidelines for aerobic and muscle strengthening activities. The same is true for adolescents. So we're really lacking in not only our nutrition, but in our fitness as well. Poor nutrition can leave students susceptible to illness, which right now is a little more important than ever to make sure that we're healthy and not treating our bodies right, not only so that we're healthy in a sense of our organs and fueling our body so it's healthy, but in fighting disease and fighting viruses. Hopefully we don't have to do that, but in the state that we're in now, it's very probable that we might have to. So remembering that when we're fueling our bodies to be our best, we're able to fight off illness as well. Only about 1 in 5 homes have a park within a half mile. So what that shows us is that a lot of people don't even have access to free ways to go exercise and to go perform things that will help them with their wellness. So that's a really big issue that on a governmental level we need to look at in different counties and in different states, making sure that everyone, regardless of their socioeconomic status, is able to have access to free places to put their fitness and their wellness first. More than 90% of children ages 4 to 18 don't meet the recommendations for fruit and vegetable intake, and more than 90% of children consume more recommended amounts of solid fats and added sugars. So what we're seeing here is that our diets are kind of flipped backwards, and what we want to work on is flipping them the other way. And the last one I have today, I believe, only 35 to 44 of adults 75 years and older are physically active, and 28 to 34% of adults 65 to 74 are physically active. So this is our population that's the most vulnerable, and we want to make sure that we are not only protecting them, but with everything, prevention is the best thing that we can do. So making sure that we're helping family members we have that are older stay physically active and do the things that they need to do to stay healthy. We have a lady in our neighborhood that's a little bit older. My mom's on the call, so she knows who I'm talking about. And she goes on her walk every single day. And I'm really proud of her because she's out on her walk more than I'm probably doing my exercise. So she is definitely doing it right. And we want to take a page of her book and make sure that we're doing that as well. Okay, and then one more. While school meals must meet federal nutrition standards, foods sold outside of school meal programs don't have to do that. So I remember when I was in high school, we had a lot of vending machines, and we also sold Chick-fil-A on campus, which wasn't a part of the federal nutrition plan. And we have to be careful about having those things in schools because when you're in school, we want to make sure children are learning those healthy nutrition habits from the very beginning. All right, what else does nutrition and fitness affect? If y'all want to throw some ideas in the chat, feel free to do so. I have a couple that I'll shout out to. So the first one is our sleep patterns. I personally love to sleep, so I don't want my sleep to be messed up. I like sleeping the best that I can. I don't like when my sleep's interrupted and I'm waking up all throughout the night. And I do find that when I'm not feeling my body the best that I can, my sleep isn't as good. The next is stress, and then I clicked again, and the last one is energy. And for one, we know our stress levels can impact our health levels overall. And our energy levels, again, with sleep, we want to have that great energy so that we're able to sustain ourselves throughout the day. So what can we do? These are pretty basic things to remember. We're first going to talk about something we probably all know about, which is the food plate. I think we all grew up with the food pyramid. I like the plate a lot better. And we're going to break this down pretty simply. We really need to make sure that we're eating all of the major food groups. And I know that as we get older, we hear about different diets, whether that's in a magazine or on TV, and a lot of the time they focus on taking out specific food groups. But I think it's important to make sure that we're having a variety of food groups because they all serve a purpose in our bodies. So even if you can't have dairy as far as a glass of milk, finding other ways to get calcium and get the vitamins that come from dairy is important. We want to have balance in our diet. And then, of course, water. That's usually forgotten about when we talk about nutrition and fitness in schools. And we want to make sure that we're getting hydrated and drinking as much water as we can, too. And then limiting non nutritious foods. Like I said before, I don't think it's about cutting anything out completely, but just limiting the things that we are putting in our diet that aren't the best for us so that we have the most energy so that we can be the most successful every day. And then one just really practical tip that I like to give is if it is a good thing for you to do to keep a self-care journal for a week. So for a week, log your food and log your exercise. We're not really focusing on the calories in the food or the composition of the food as much as we're focusing on how the food makes us feel. And a lot of time when I'm in elementary schools, I will ask, oh, well, how does eating chicken nuggets make you feel or a hamburger make you feel? And they say, it feels great. And I have to remind them, no, we're not talking about how it tastes. We're talking about how we feel 10, 30, an hour later. How are we feeling after we put that food in our body? So talking about just wellness, we want to make sure that we're working on our physical fitness as well. These are some of my favorite things: cycling, weightlifting, yoga. There really is something for everyone, regardless of your physical fitness level. We have lots of fitness classes for you this weekend, so you can try out a couple of different things and see what works for you. And then my last one, the last thing I always like to talk about is body image because it is a huge part of self-care for me. And it is completely normal for us to be self-conscious about our bodies. Over 90% of women and 90% of men are unhappy with their bodies at some point or another. And 30 million people are struggling with an eating disorder. So our insecurities are normal, but they're often caused by outside sources. And we want to make sure that we're limiting those things that are causing us to feel this way as much as we can. So my first thing is to respond to negative thoughts with positive ones. So I always am telling specifically kids, because it's really easy for them to remember to do, whenever they have one negative thought about themselves, to combat it with two positive things that they think about themselves. So let's say a kid says, oh, I really don't like my eyes. I wish I had eyes like Sally. Well, then I'm going to challenge them, find two things that you really love about yourself. And they might say, you know, I really love my hair and I really love my smile. And so we're always going to have those negative thoughts, but if we can outweigh them, that's definitely what we want to do. Know the strength of your own body. Our bodies are pretty amazing, and we have to remember that, having a little, I see a question in the chat. I'll definitely get to that before we move on today. Knowing the strength of our own body, our bodies are really powerful, so we want to remember that and remember all of the things that they do for us. And a really big one, especially right now since we're all home, is watching our media consumption. So my biggest thing, especially with social media, as someone that's going into social media marketing, and I'm on social media a lot, is if there's someone that's on my feed that makes me feel less than, I unfollow that person. And it has nothing to do with them. I've never met them. I'm sure they're a phenomenal person, but it's more about me taking care of myself and making sure the people that are on my feed are uplifting me and making me feel the best I can. No one deserves to be in your digital space, and so there's no one that you are required to follow. Surround yourself with people that love you the way you are. That one's pretty self-explanatory. If you have a friend that is making you feel less than, that's not really your friend. And then tell someone you trust about your insecurities. It's not something you're alone in. And I think we're often surprised when we tell people the way that we feel. It seems a lot less scary and it's a lot smaller. And then, of course, practicing self-care. I always feel like when we are fueling our bodies to be our best, we feel our best in all aspects. So that's always something I'm going to recommend. Okay, and just to wrap it up, in order to perform at our best every single day, it's important that we fuel our bodies right. And nutrition and fitness, they can help us perform better, sleep better, and just feel better throughout our entire day. And what isn't important here, like I said, isn't our weight, it's our physical attributes. We want to make sure that we're viewing nutrition, fitness, wellness as a tool for our daily success and to make us feel our best every day, and not only for physical improvement. So if you have any questions, you can feel free to type them in here. I know there was one in the chat, so I'll answer that. If you just have any that you don't want to ask out loud, that is for you. Okay, how can we prioritize our health when we're on trips? I took a 13-hour trip yesterday, and I noticed how hard it is to eat healthy. So true. I'm so sorry. Oh, no worries, no worries. So the biggest thing for me when I am doing trips, I go to school 3 hours away from my house, and so I'm coming home a lot, and usually it's in the afternoon around lunch or dinner time, so I definitely get hungry, and I am guilty of stopping at fast food places from time to time. But my biggest tip is to pre-plan. So if you know you're going to be making a trip all day, you really just have to be conscious of, okay, this is when I'm going to be hungry, this is how many meals I'm going to need, and just packing them and bringing them to go. I have a YouTube video on that, and I'll put it in the comments for you to be able to watch and kind of hear some of the actual food suggestions that I give. I can't think of a lot of them off the top of my head, but I gave a lot of actual suggestions on things that you can do. So I'll put that in the comments as soon as I stop sharing my screen. Does anyone else have a question I can answer for you? All right. Well, of course, you can follow the rest of my year. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, MissMorco_NC, all those great things. Keep up with me. Of course, tag me in all of the things you post from this weekend. I want to see all of it and see what your favorite parts of this weekend are. And that is all I have for you. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I have someone else that is going to talk to you today. Our nonprofit partner for this weekend is the Food Trust. And so Heidi from the Food Trust is going to chat with us a little bit about what they do, what their mission is, and everything the Food Trust. So take it away.
Thank you so much, Karolyn. I really appreciate you having me here today and giving me a few minutes to talk about the important work of the Food Trust. And I first want to say, I think it's so wonderful that you've organized this free wellness event that is touching on so many important topics that impact our health. So just to introduce myself, I'm Heidi Gorniak. I am the Director of Nutrition at the Food Trust. And as somebody who's worked in the field of nutrition education for over 15 years, and I'm also a registered dietitian, I am very passionate about holistic self-care and really trying to support others in achieving their wellness goals. And I'm also really passionate about making sure that everyone has that same opportunity for good health. So at the Food Trust, our mission is to ensure that everyone has access to affordable, nutritious food and information to make healthy decisions. We're a nonprofit that has spent the last 20 years working towards this mission, and there is still a long way to go. So just a little bit more about us and why we do what we do. So research has shown that our zip codes can have a profound impact on the number of years in our lives. So where we live determines really so much about how we live, like our ability to buy fresh food, even breathe clean air, live in a safe home, be physically active, and receive quality health care. So while the opportunity for good health should be a given for all, it still remains a privilege for a few. And we're seeing this health disparity increase even more during COVID, as we're seeing food assistance programs numbers increase and food pantries really being stretched to their limits. So at the Food Trust, we believe that access to healthy, affordable food is a basic human right. And that's why we're working nationally to improve access to healthy food and provide nutrition education in neighborhoods that need it the most. We've really found that a comprehensive approach is needed to improve diets and health, which includes equitable access to healthy foods, public policies, which you mentioned, that encourage healthy choices and combat food insecurity, as well as community and school-based nutrition education. And of course, that all fits into a larger picture of health, which includes many of the elements that you all are speaking about this weekend, such as mental health and financial health, and many other topics. So a little bit more about some of our programs. The Food Trust staff works throughout the Philadelphia region and all across the country to change how we think about healthy food and increase its availability. So for example, we have brought supermarkets to communities that have gone decades without one, and set up tables inside the supermarket to taste test healthy products with customers and demonstrate ways to stretch their food dollars. We've helped corner store owners introduce fresh produce, low-fat dairy, whole grains into their stores, and we take customers on tours through the aisles to show them where they can find these healthy products. We've helped to remove soda and junk food from schools and instead taught students to appreciate foods like spinach and cherry tomatoes while gardening or making their own veggie pita pockets. And we've grown a network of, at this point, 20 farmers markets that reach nearly every corner of Philadelphia. And we have educators there who are providing cooking demonstrations, showing customers how to make simple, easy recipes using the produce that's available. And really in every instance I mentioned here, we're pairing food access with nutrition education because they truly do go hand in hand. And we're working really hard to make the healthy choice the easy choice, while simultaneously providing related nutrition information to over 20,000 people each year. And I can't not mention COVID, which has certainly shifted our approach, but it hasn't slowed us down. So during a time when we're seeing these rates of food insecurity rise, our work we feel is more critical than ever. And we're finding new ways to serve our communities and increase food access through innovative partnerships. And we have shifted to a completely virtual nutrition education model, which we're really excited about, offering live and recorded lessons to children, their caregivers, and families across the region. So we're working harder than ever, but we're very excited about it. So I wanna really thank all of you and thank Karolyn again for giving me a few minutes to share about the work of the Food Trust. And I really do encourage you to consider donating to help to support the communities that we serve. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of the summit. I looked over the sessions and it looks like it's going to be a great couple of days. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Heidi. I do have one question for you. So,
Sure.
a lot of our presenters this weekend are title holders that are focused on wellness. And then, of course, there are thousands of women in the Miss America organization across the country that are focused on wellness. So, I was wondering what we can do if there's anything that us as title holders, if we're interested in helping the Food Trust, what we could do to help you all.
That is such a great question, Karolyn. Um, as role models, right? As leaders, I think we could absolutely come up with ways to innovative to be partners here in getting these messages out to our communities, in building partners in each of the communities that we're serving. So I can see a lot of ways that could be a wonderful partnership.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'll definitely be in touch with you about that.
That sounds great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, y'all. This went a lot faster than I was expecting, so that's always good. We have a while before our first official presentation. Again, just remember that you'll get your links for the classes you registered for at 8 a.m. the morning of the presentation, and then if you register for any more classes that day, you should get them about 1 hour before. You can always register for some more classes, and of course, donate to the Food Trust. I'll be talking about that a lot all weekend. You also, when you get your registration links, you get a worksheet for our workbook. So each class has a workbook sheet, and in your welcome email, I also sent you the cover for it. So you'll be able to answer some questions so that you can really take tangible things away from this weekend and implement it into the rest of your year. So does anyone have any questions about the weekend? I put that link to the video, the YouTube video I was talking about, in the chat as well. So feel free to snag that so that you can kind of see what I was talking about eating healthy while we travel. Yes, I can't wait either. I can't wait to see y'all throughout the rest of the weekend. All right, well, if that is it, I will see some of you at 5 o'clock to talk about vision setting, goal setting, making our vision boards, which I was a little too quick. I already made mine, but we can make a second one. It'll be a good time. I thought that was the perfect way to set our weekend, to start our weekend with setting some intentions for our goals for the rest of the year. So I'll see some of y'all at 5 o'clock then. Bye.